indicted and so on. And yet, on this particular issue, this is it.
Well, if
And
we
I'm
took
not
the silhouettes
defending
of the
anybody,
three
yes.
previous speakers who are either indicted on federal corruption or awaiting
Uh-huh.
charges, and we put a fourth silhouette up to bring the gambling industry, one has to only wonder when we will start to see the first
Yes.
indictments. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If there's anything that's inevitable about slots and casinos, it's corruption.
Corruption, yes.
Not that Massachusetts has to have them or will have them, but the one thing that you can take to the bank that's inevitable is corruption. And again, we see that with the revolving doors of former speakers, now lobbyists, former representatives, now lobbyists for the gambling industry, and they've just been biding their time. And now, when the average person is vulnerable and overwhelmed, to jam something through, and that's exactly what the House did.
Yeah.
It needs to stop, and folks, really, I am concerned that I have a 14-year-old. I don't want to see him raised in a culture of gambling. And you know there's already prolific marketing. It will be everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we see that with the major Springfield newspaper, where they're already getting ad money from the industry. We see that from major radio stations that are sponsoring trips to some of the Connecticut casinos, that they're already getting money. So the moneyed, deep-pocketed interests are already in power. They're already in power. The one thing that can stop that is citizens, citizen power, citizen voices. And I talked to legislator after legislator, and they are amazed how few people they hear from.
Oh.
On this issue, but on almost every issue. Occasionally, the phones start ringing on something that's a real hot button issue. They want to hear from us.
I think it's true. I think probably that very few people do actually contact their legislators. Yes.
So we have an opportunity. Again, I firmly believe in just the footsteps are more important than whatever is coming out of the mouth. Taking the steps, the action is very important. We need to stop this. We need to have our legislators, our governor, the proponents, the special interests, prove in an independent process, whether it's through a commission that's balanced or an independent cost analysis, show us. Show us the other side of the magic quill, where the costs and the impacts.
Yeah, yeah. We have about 5 minutes left, just to give you an idea.
Well, time goes when we're having fun.
Yes.
If I could just talk a little bit, too, about the inconvenient truth about the revenues and visit the idea of sort of this libertarian piece that folks, you know, adults should have a right to do what they want to do with their money, which I completely agree with. When it starts to become a public health issue, which gambling is, when it starts to become a taxation issue, and that I then, or you, or the other taxpayers hold the burden, and we subsidize by having to pay for the social costs through our taxes for the local services, et cetera, it becomes all of our issue. And that's why this is not truly a libertarian issue. With due respect to Congressman Barney Frank, who believes, you know, we should be able to gamble on the internet, gamble here, our living rooms there, all over the place, and then regulate it like heck.
Oh.
That's not libertarianism.
No, that's not if it's regulated.
That's taxation is truly what that is. So there's been some confusion around some of that
I wasn't aware that
terminology. We have a robust lottery. The lottery returns after expenses and the gaming and the operations returns that to local aid, to our cities and towns.
Yes.
Casinos, the slots, the monies, the millions of dollars go to the casino. They get to deduct their expenses, and then a fraction of that goes to the state in taxation, whether it's 25% or 20%. And that is a small component. Someone might hear, well, $200 million is a lot of money. And if it was in my pocket, it would be a huge amount of money. That's a pittance when we're talking about $27 billion budgets. And it doesn't measure up at all to the mitigation and the impacts. Just thinking about water. just thinking about 9,000 vehicles a day traveling to one region.
Yeah.
Thinking about that for, again, the 5 college area, and what that means for traffic and congestion. So for whoever, all those folks that have gotten off the Palmer exit and traveled that long and winding back road to come to UMass or Amherst or Mount Holyoke or Smith, let's think about these things. Because again, we have a different state. It is unique, it is mature, and we're at the end of the train here. You know, I had said at one point that the casino train left the station 10, 15, 20 years ago, and the speaker's running after it. But it crashed. It crashed. The tracks, the dog racing is an industry that was dying for years and years. Taxpayers, through the legislation to get rid of the dogs at the tracks, supported training for those folks, and they have not taken advantage of it. So we have provided a vehicle for people to be able to move into more sustainable livelihoods. But those owners of those tracks have said, no, stay put, because we're going to get gambling. Yeah. And who really benefits again? Whose interest is that potential slot parlor? Who is he looking out for? You know, we need to be asking some of these harder questions. So the business model, the impacts, the costs, the process that has not been an open dialogue, media being diminished and not providing all of the information to citizens, and citizens being perhaps even intimidated in some areas. The Palmer area, the emotions are very, very high. The Middleborough are very high. It's been ignited in Fall River now, Milford. So there are many competing factors. And I just thank you for this opportunity to come and speak.
In fact, we have a half a minute left, so it's a good thing you said that.
Right, so we can start to wrap up and let folks know that now would be a great time to contact your legislator. There are many, many hoops in the process that have to happen. The Senate is not going to have the same bill as the House. There's disagreement, and then it goes to the governor. So get active, get involved, have a great summer.
Well, thank you very much. This is the end of our show. Take care. Bye.